If you're sick of keyboards that all look the same, the YUNZII X98 Transparent is the opposite of subtle. This thing is basically a glowing showpiece, clear case, clear keycaps, RGB everywhere. But here's the question, is it just a gimmick, or is it actually a solid daily driver? Let's find out. Just a full disclosure, YUNZII sent us this keyboard to review, but all opinions are our own. This is also the second video in our two-part YUNZII series, the first being the squishy C2 mouse, which actually pairs really nicely with this keyboard aesthetically. Alright, let's start with the box. It's packed well with proper padding, so I don't think you'll get any delivery damages. Right away, you're getting all the essentials, and then some. Inside the box, you get the keyboard itself, and a solid set of accessories. You get extra keycaps for a few keys, plus spare switches, which is always appreciated, either as backups down the line, or just to get a feel for the switches before committing to a full swap. There's also a dual-purpose puller that works as both a keycap puller and a switch puller, which immediately fits the hot swap nature of this board. And for wired use, YUNZII includes a proper coiled cable. It's not one of those thin throwaway cables either. It actually feels good quality. That's a nice touch at this price because a lot of boards just toss in a basic straight cable and call it a day. Alright, yeah, let's set it up and turn the lights on. The headline feature here is obvious. A transparent polycarbonate case paired with translucent keycaps, and honestly, it looks fantastic. RGB light pours through every angle of this board. You've got more than 10 lighting modes to play with, all controlled via the FN key, and onboard shortcuts for brightness, speed, color, and effects. No software required just to get things looking good. All of that lighting is powered by a massive 8,000 mAh battery, which also explains why this board has some real heft, about 2.8 pounds. A full charge takes around 13 hours, and that gets you roughly 45 hours of wireless use with RGB on, or up to 320 hours with it off. Yeah, that's how power hungry this lighting setup really is. Layout-wise, this is a 96% keyboard, which means you still get full functionality, numpad included, but with tighter spacing to keep the overall footprint smaller on your desk. It's a great middle ground if you want everything without going full size. Up in the top right corner, you also get a programmable knob, which by default controls volume, but can also be customized for lighting or other functions. It's a simple addition, but it's genuinely useful day to day. Flip the board over, and there's a really nice touch. A metallic magnetic backplate that presses in and pops out to reveal the USB dongle for wireless use, so you're far less likely to lose it. You've also got two sturdy rubberized flip-out feet for adjusting the typing angle, and along the back edge, you'll find the tri-mode connectivity switch for Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz wireless, and wired mode, plus the USB-C port for charging or wired use. So how does it sound? The X98 is gasket mounted, which gives it a softer, more cushioned typing feel than a basic tray mount board, and that also helps smooth out the overall sound profile. In practice, you get a deeper, more controlled thok that leans muted rather than sharp or clacky. Most of the keys sound consistent and satisfying, except for the spacebar. Let's take a listen. Notice how the spacebar sounds pretty different? It's actually pretty common on transparent polycarbonate keycaps. Because it sits over a bigger cavity, it tends to echo a bit and come across hollower than the tighter thok you get from the smaller keys. It's not a structural flaw, it's just how bigger keys and clear materials behave acoustically, and can be adjusted by adding some foam to achieve a more thockier sound. Now, customization is where this keyboard really stands out and is a key reason why you'd buy this over some of the X98 competitors. You get QMK firmware with VIA support, which means that you can remap basically anything, set up layers, assign macros, change what the knob does, and tailor the board to your workflow without relying on some locked down proprietary app. Most keyboards around this price use brand-specific software that's easier to pick up, but usually doesn't go as deep as QMK in terms of flexibility. One thing to note though, customization is done in wired mode, and the QMK route does come with a slightly steeper learning curve. So if you're someone who wants simple plug-and-play software with a friendly UI, that's a trade-off worth considering. But if you like the idea of open, enthusiast-grade control that can grow with you, it's a real strength. And if you want to change the feel completely, the PCB is fully hot swappable. You can switch in 3 and 5 pin switches as well as keycaps. YUNZII included 5 keycaps, so let's switch in one of those using the included puller. Let's switch the 2 key for the included star key. Nice. This keyboard works well for pretty much any use case. For gaming, the pre-lubed Snow linear switches feel smooth and fast, so keystrokes are light and consistent. You also get full N key rollover, which means the keyboard can register multiple key presses at the same time without missing inputs, exactly what you want for fast movement, combos, or frantic key mashing. Plus, with QMK support, you get all the customization options you'd ever need. For productivity, it's surprisingly enjoyable too. That deeper, muted thok gives the board a satisfying rhythm while you type, almost like a subtle sound effect that makes desk work feel nicer. And thanks to the gasket mount and those smooth switches, typing stays comfortable for long sessions. It doesn't feel harsh or fatiguing. Now, it's not trying to be a full ergonomic office keyboard, of course, so if that's your priority, this isn't the right keyboard for you. But the question remains, is it worth the price tag? On the YUNZII website, it retails for $129.99, and honestly, at that price, I think it's overpriced. You're starting to creep into boards that compete more on materials, refinement, or extra features, and the X98's main advantage is the feature set, not premium build. If you shop around though, especially on places like Amazon, you can often grab it for around $90, and that price feels about right. At around $90, it lands in the same bracket as other keyboards offering a similar everything you need checklist: tri-mode wireless, hot swappable, RGB, and a compact full layout. The most direct comparison is the Honest F98 Pro, which often sells for basically the same price. It's very similar on paper, but it includes an OLED screen, and that OLED genuinely makes day-to-day use easier. Changing lighting modes and settings is way more intuitive than using hotkey combos. The trade-off is, it has half the battery capacity, and you don't get the same QMK and VIA flexibility that the X98 offers. If you're the kind of person who just wants an easy, convenient keyboard with a screen, the Honor can honestly make more sense. There's also the Gravistar Mercury K1 Lite, which can sit around the same $90 mark, but it's a 75% layout, so you lose the numpad entirely, meaning it's not a true alternative if you specifically want that compact full-size layout. So yeah, I wouldn't say the X98 is impossible to beat value, but if you can get it around $90, it's definitely priced right. It looks unique, and the QMK and VIA support is a real differentiator that most competitors at this price simply don't offer. The YUNZII X98 reminds me of the transparent tech that was so common in the early 2000s that kind of makes it feel a little magical and gives me a nostalgic hit. Of course, it also comes with the modern specs that make it worth getting today. If you can get it around $90 or less, it's definitely worth it. Thank you for watching, and consider hitting the subscribe and like button if you found this video helpful.